let's call the meeting to order. A moment of silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Liberty and
Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank?
Mayor Kindle,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Costantino,
Present.
Councilwoman Lyons,
Present.
Councilman Pies,
present.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Here from my home in Harper Woods.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Councilwoman Williams,
here from my home in Harper Woods.
Councilman Toussaint.
Here from my home in Harper Woods, Michigan on Danbury Lane.
And if I could have all of you state aye if you are here in Harper Woods.
Aye. Here in Harper Woods.
I'm here in Harper Woods City offices.
Any one of you not in Harper Woods at this time?
I'm not in Harper Woods at this time.
Okay, Cheryl, where are you located?
I'm in Florida, taking care of my mom.
Okay. Then that should do it. Thank you. Oh, Acting City Manager Szymanski
Present.
and City Attorney Diwali.
Here.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Okay, I need approval of the minutes from the regular city council meeting held on February 1st, 2021. I need a motion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Sawicki.
I will offer the motion to approve, receive, and file the minutes of our regular city council meeting held February 1st, 2021.
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Lyons. Any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Public comment on agenda items.
I do not see anyone, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you. Okay, I need a resolution for the consent agenda.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Constantino.
I'll offer the resolution to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 10.
Support.
Supported by Councilwoman Pies. Discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Sawicki.
a couple of quick questions. Actually, 3 questions. I noticed that Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick are up for rate increase, but we're also paying, like, when they come out to do particular items, so like $35,000 on this particular bill. So when it comes time for us to vote on the rate increase, I'd like the city manager to describe the difference, why we're paying, $35,000 per various activities, and also paying a contingency fee. So I just want to mention that. Also, I noticed that we do have a number of lawyers that have been called in, or at least a lawyer from Kitsch, Drukas, Wagner, Valatutti, and Sherbrooke in order to help us through the Telecom Metro Act. I'm curious whether we will be able to recoup costs from the applicants for some of these fees.
Okay, I can provide some comment on that. This law firm was engaged, I want to say, well over a year ago by Mr. Raker, city manager, and it was to give him an understanding and give the city an understanding on what the process was for permits in regards to the Metro Act. And I want to say that the Metro Act it's a very large act, and the permitting process was not defined. They leave it to the local communities, and what that would mean on our end here is that contractors could come in and do work, and I want to say possibly hit a gas line, hit something under the street, and it may be the city's liability if we didn't have the permitting process in place. So Mr. Watsa kind of explained the ins and outs of a very, very technical, very, very difficult act. And I contacted our city attorney, I contacted our building department, I contacted our DPW. We put our heads together, and our engineers, and we put our heads together and came up with a permitting process within the guidelines and advice of Mr. Watsa, so that the city could issue permits. The permits would allow the work to be done, and we would have some recourse in the event that there was any financial exposure or liability caused by the subcontractors. There's lots and lots of subcontractors in this business. And I want to say our building department, they have advised us that the code enforcement is relatively new, and there really is not any code enforcement at this time. So we have to have our engineers, I want to say, examine all the plans and give us a recommendation. We use that recommendation to grant a permit, and so that the contractors can perform the work. And if we don't grant them a permit, I believe, but I'm going to defer this question to Sharon, our city attorney. If we don't grant them a permit within a reasonable amount of time, they can continue the work anyway, and the city would or may be responsible for any damages that are caused. And Sharon, would you like to comment, please?
Yes, if I may. Actually, the issues in which Mr. Watsa was involved are far more extensive. With all due respect, John, it goes beyond the Metro Act,
Right.
which is draconian in its application due to the very well-funded committees that approached the legislature and got this legislation passed.
Mhm.
But that's only half the issue. The other half of the issue is what's called DAS small cell. That's another matter that's regulated by federal law. And
Right.
some of the service providers were trying to use the Metro Act to slip in some of this DSL, this small cell material, and expand it far beyond the reaches of what the Metro Act permitted. It's a they're two very dense, complex law with a lot of pitfalls we could fall
Yeah.
into.
Right.
We could get sued in a heartbeat. They're backed by people who have, sorry to say, a great deal of money
Right.
in order to
Well,
in order to go to the legislature and get these laws passed. Mike Watsa was heavily involved in the legislation, and as a matter of fact, MML asked him, if you go to their website,
Right.
to draft the fact sheet on some of these issues, but it's way beyond.
Yeah.
I don't have any issue with bringing an expert into the city. It's needed, and it sounds as if it was needed. But what I'm curious about is, will we be able to recoup some of this money through these applicants?
No,
No.
no, the law is drafted, as I said, very draconian, very much against municipalities,
Right.
very much in favor of the industry. And that's beyond our control. It has, you know, we need the expert in order to interpret the law and help us through all this. And the law basically says, I think you get a nickel a foot for every linear foot that they drill. It's ridiculous, quite frankly. And there was some serious questions about the legislation, but the guys with the money get the ear, I guess.
Yes.
And I'm being very blunt because that's what happened.
The last question I had from this portion had to do with computer and firewall, and that the simplified business solutions. No. That's the last element here for 10. I noticed that it mentions the library firewall, a 3-year warranty, and putting on a firewall for the library. Will the city be receiving funds from the library?
No, I had a talk with the library director, and due to their tight budgets, you know, again, we will be absorbing this cost on behalf of the library, simply because it's a lot simpler this way. We need to have the work done in a timely fashion. They are part of the city. They are part of the city's internet infrastructure, same way DPW is. So to get uniformity, we went ahead and we just got them the firewall protection because there is a chance that their board may not understand, you know, the need or necessity for this. I'm not saying that in a disparaging way. It's just that their funds are very tight at this moment as we speak, and the city has absorbed this. If this gets to be excessive down the road, certainly we can have talks, but for the moment, this was something that was needed. There were lots of cracks in our internet infrastructure, and we're upgrading, fixing them, setting filters, servers, and this is just part of the whole comprehensive plan.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Constantino.
Yeah, I'm going through some of these receipts for simplified business solutions and things like that. And I'm seeing, like, you know, thousands of dollars for computers and different things, which I am fine with because it's about that time anyway. But, you know, item number 10 and some of these other items really need to be a separate agenda item. This section is for things that are under $5,000 and things that are just everyday expenditures. So if we have something special like this, it needs to be a separate agenda item. I'm not opposed to it. It's just that to follow proper procedure, it appears that we're trying to sneak things through when they're put on the consent agenda. And you know, we need to be a little bit more transparent than that. We can't just lump everything together. We've got to follow the rules.
I just want to say a lot of these are going to be one-time expenditures for the moment. We've taken all of our laptops and I want to say servers, and because of events that happened last year, that exposed a lot of cracks in our infrastructure armor, so to speak. And with the new security procedures that we have, a lot of this technology has to be integrated with the computers. And these, for the most part, a lot of these are one-time expenditures. Now, computers, if we need new computers, you know, 3 years from now, all the computers, get a lot of use here. And, we may have to go through some updates again, but again, this was very, very old architecture that we were using, and we needed the upgrades. And
Right.
in the future, we'll separate these things. We'll separate these things because we definitely need the upgrades. So.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. Like I said, I'm in support of it. I know it needs to be done. I'm not unrealistic about it, but it does need to be separated. And just please remember, anything that's not day-to-day business, like a special purchase like this or special service that's over $5,000, it needs to be a separate agenda item.
So noted.
Is there any further discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Lyons.
I have two questions, actually, two concerns. One being the first one being we've utilized, the surveying and engineering services of Anderson, Estrick, and Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick for quite some time. And now that there's an increase pending, is there a way to maybe find comparable services, to shop around or to, see if there's something that would be more affordable for the city's bottom line?
With AEW, they know all of our maps. They know all of our infrastructure. They know what's on top of the street. They know what's underneath the street. They're very well aware of what we have done, how we fix things in the past. Certainly there are other engineers, but it's like anything else. These are very, very experienced people that have been with the city since I want to say the last 30 years. That's a heck of a thing to discard, especially when they can talk about problems over the phone without looking at a blueprint, without having a picture. They know the exact layout of the city. I would not recommend it myself because of all the expertise that they have with the city. They're able to find problems sometimes that our folks aren't able to find. So they work very, very well with our DPW. And again, we have saved time and energy and resources just in things that they have uncovered in their normal engineering, whether it be sewer lines, whether it be streets, whether it be backslope maintenance, curb, catch basins. Their expertise goes a long way.
Thank you. And the second question was, with regard to Simplified Business Solutions, they're located in Kimball, Michigan. Are there not comparable services that can be more local? If not in Harper Woods, then maybe even somewhere, in the immediate area that we can support local businesses?
We have tried other businesses, and I want to say that this was a company founded by one of the people that used to work for several of the IT solution companies that we had. And this person, again, gave us personalized attention. You can call him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We missed him severely when we had to change carriers, and that's when we were having all the problems that we had. We had lapses in our firewall. We had malware coming in. We had all kinds of problems. And Tim has done an excellent job of patching up all the leaks. And we have not had a problem, with him. And even though his company may be located out there, every time we need him, he's there. And as a matter of fact, he's monitoring this meeting right now to make sure that there's no problems. So he's done an excellent job, and he's done it for a lot more reasonable price than some of his competitors. So He's done a good job, and I would ask Leslie on this too. Leslie, wouldn't you say that Tim has done an excellent job with IT?
Yes, and he has a couple of associates that are also very much available anytime the city needs anything. And even with him being in Kimball, Michigan, they can remote into our systems and help us remotely. And I can't say anything bad about SBS or the associates that he has hired. They're all very, very knowledgeable and very helpful.
Very knowledgeable of Harper Woods and how we use this equipment. That's big here.
Are there any further discussions?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Pies?
to follow up on Councilperson Lyons' concern, I just wanted to make mention that our city manager, Mr. Raker, had contracted with Simplified Solutions. So I believe they are on contract. I don't recall how long the contract is for. I think it's for 3 years. And I do remember that Simplified Solutions was started after the person left our previous vendor because there were some pretty big problems with that. But he had the experience from there and also some other outside work. So I believe probably Mr. Szymanski can clarify that if he is on contract for 3 years, I believe. And so this would be 1.5 years or so in. Am I correct?
Yeah, I can get all the information by the next council meeting. I can't tell you exactly, you know, how long the contract is off the top of my head, but I can certainly get that information for you and get back with you.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks?
Mayor Pro Tem Costantino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki,
Yes.
Councilman Toussaint,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
and Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, being that there's no old business, we'll move on to new business and city manager's report.
Okay, Mayor and Council, attached is a memorandum from the DPW Superintendent requesting approval to repair the roof of the truck equipment shed at the DPW yard. As his memo states, several sections of the 30-year-old roof tore away from the steel decking as a result of extreme high winds last fall. Our insurance company was contacted and we were issued a check in the amount of $11,463.71 for repairs. Mr. Schneider contacted roofing companies and several bids for the repair work we received for not only making the necessary repairs, but to also re-roof the remaining undamaged sections. The lowest bid submitted also has a 25-year warranty on labor and materials for these repairs. I have reviewed this with him and concur with his recommendation that this repair work be approved.
Madam Mayor?
Madam Mayor,
Madam Mayor?
Councilwoman Lyons, I heard first, and Councilwoman Williams.
I'll make the resolution to accept the lowest qualified bid submitted by King's Roofing in the amount of $23,000 for the repair of defective areas of the DPW shed roof, and also to re-roof it in its entirety, and further that $11,463.71 received from the insurance company to go towards those repairs, with the city only funding $11,535.29.
I support.
Okay, discussion? A roll call vote, Mrs.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, Ms. Constantino has raised her hand.
Okay, Councilwoman Constantino?
Madam Mayor, I noticed that the insurance company is covering about half of the cost. So I just wanted to confirm, was that because only half the roof was torn off and then we're just replacing the rest while we're at it? Or if there was a, if they should be covering the whole thing?
Okay, the insurance only covered the patch of roof that was damaged, but the patch, we would actually be putting new roof on a 30-year-old damaged, worn roof, kind of like putting lace curtains on a broken window. So we decided to just replace the entire roof because it's always, weathered. They're giving us a 25-year warranty. There's a good chance that we could have another high wind and blow off a rotting section of that roof. So you're right. We're replacing the whole roof, and we're using the insurance proceeds, which were half for that job.
And are we using a metal roof?
Yeah, it's going to be a metal roof and whatever goes under, the tar paper and everything else that goes under the roof.
Okay, because metal roofs are usually good for ever, practically 50 years or more. So I'm surprised the warranty is only 25 years, but.
If you need any more, Bill can expound.
Yeah, Bill Bill, are you there at the meeting?
Yes, he's right there.
Right there. Bill, can you please add a few comments? Your mute is on.
Yeah, okay, sure, I'd be glad to. Actually, the roof surface itself is not metal, but the decking below the millboard and fiberboard, the decking is a corrugated steel deck. So this is going to be, the areas that are compromised are going to be cut out, and they're going to install new millboard to become level with the existing roof, re-roof over the defective areas, and then re-roof over the entire roof, which will give us that 25-year warranty. Actually, I met with 4 different roofing contractors. One of the 4 declined to offer a quote that this type of repair was not really in his wheelhouse. And, I was on the roof. I'm familiar with the roof. And I met with our insurance company. I was out there with them on the roof. And that offer and the check from the insurance company, by most standards, would be considered generous. When the guy took a look at the roof, he just kind of smiled at me and said, "We're looking at a 30-year-old roof here, and it is a laminate type of roof." But I mean, to that end, yeah, this is, we're going to get the most bang for our buck, a 25-year warranty on that. And it should serve us well.
Okay, thank you.
Question? Oh, when you need a new roof, you need a new roof.
You know what, you are so right. You know what, and we're not reinventing the wheel here. And it's not an insulated building that is heated. This is just what they refer to as a lean-to shed style roof that keeps the elements off of our trucks. So one of the quotes was just total overkill, and that they wanted to offer insulated millboard and certain R factors and R values to a roof that really doesn't need to have those properties when it's not a heated enclosure.
Is there any further discussion?
Ms.
Madam
Williams
Mayor?
has her hand up.
Councilwoman Williams?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I had a question about the, I saw that we got several different, I mean, were those like different bids that came in? Was there a bid process? And so we're selecting, so you're, going over the best one. And also, you say it is a complete re-roofing, not just repair, because I know one of them you said that was way too high and that you wasn't going to pursue that avenue. So it is complete re-roofing, or is it repair?
Bill, would you answer that?
Yep, sure, glad to. You know what, it's not it's not a total tear off down to all of the steel decking, but the surface area will be a re-roof. I mean, they're going to strip off the old, replace it, integrate it with the existing roof, and they will re-roof over the whole structure. So in essence, it is a new re-roof wear surface, but it's not a total tear off because that isn't warranted. The quote for that total tear off that we didn't feel was warranted was $55,000, which was overkill for that type of structure.
Okay, and was this, the offers that we got, was that through a bid process?
I solicited quotes from several different contractors, and actually one of the contractors is the one that put a new roof on our municipal building at City Hall, our Kelly Road building, and the Public Works building. So I was familiar with the contractors, and we discussed the best application for repair.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Lyons.
a question for Mr. Snyder. Just out of curiosity, of the 4 companies that you went with this company in Troy, where they were the best possible deal, how many of them were local?
When you say local, they were all within southeastern Michigan. They were in this area. You know, we didn't look at anybody too far reaching. I couldn't tell you the exact mileage or geographic distance, but you know, as far as it goes with this company too, I followed up by calling their references, and you know what? And I told them, don't give me the names of everybody that likes you. Be objective and give me some folks that are going to provide some honest feedback. And they did. You know what? And for me to sit here and say, well, everybody was a fan of this company, everybody loved this company, that wasn't always the case, but overall they had a good ratings. And I asked some of the questions I asked to the folks that I followed up on the references, would you use them again? And one of the fellas owns a Verizon building in Lapeer, and he says, well, yeah, as a matter of fact, I've hired them to put a roof on another one of my buildings. So you know, as in anything, you may get some negative feedback, but overall their rating was, I was satisfied with it.
Are there any further discussions? Can I have a roll call vote, Mrs. Franks?
Councilwoman Lyons,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki,
Yes.
Councilman Toussaint,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes,
Mayor Kindle,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Costantino.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G2, adoption of the 2021 Federal Poverty Income Policy. Madam Mayor and City Council, attached is a memorandum from the assessor recommending that we adopt the 2021 Federal Poverty Income Policy to be used in the determination of poverty exemptions for this year. These guidelines are prepared by the State Tax Commission and they need to be adopted annually. I have reviewed this and recommended that it be adopted. I have also asked our assessor to be available for any questions that the mayor and council may have.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Madam Councilwoman Pies.
I'll offer the resolution to adopt the 2021 Federal Poverty Income Policy as required annually by the Michigan Department of Treasury State Commission.
Support.
Support by, was that
Constantino.
Oh, okay, Councilwoman Constantino.
Yep, I also have a question.
Discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I have a question. I understand that in December of 2020, there were some changes made to this, and I wanted to know, either from our assessor or city attorney through you, what are the changes or how they impact us, and are we able to recoup any of these funds? And if so, how?
Okay.
We don't.
Holly, I would like to direct that question to you. You're on mute right now. Could you take your mute off? Hit your space bar. Okay. Rob, could you assist her, please?
Yes, sir, John. Who are we looking for?
Holly Koza.
Okay, you should be unmuted now.
Okay, she's unmuted.
Okay.
Ms. Koza, can you speak? Make sure.
She there?
She is, but she is still muted. I'm gonna try and help her out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I can just give you a general overview while Holly is getting ready to answer. I want to say generally that the poverty exemptions are granted
Right.
for 1 year only, and that all income is used in the household to determine this exemption. Tax returns for all members living in the household must be included, and most of the city's reductions are around 50%. And Holly just walked into the room and she can answer your question here. Holly, would you want to?
Sorry about that. We didn't know I didn't have a microphone. Good evening. So I think if I understand the question, you wanted to know the main differences that the state made.
And redemption, whether she can recoup.
So the city does not recoup any of the taxes that are basically when you exempt somebody, which is why we're recommending the 50%, not the 100%. Because you don't get any money, you don't get anything towards services whatsoever. Also, by giving the 50% exemption, which is more than 25%, you're still allowing the resident to file the Michigan property tax credit. So some residents can file and get up to $1,500 back. So if you're not paying any taxes, you're not going to be entitled to any of that. So the choices we have are 25%, 50%, or 100%. And it's our recommendation to go with the 50% exemption. The past formula worked out where some people got a little less than that, maybe a little bit more. So it's really kind of a medium go-between, if that helps.
Is there any further discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
Thank you. This question goes to Holly also. I just had two questions for you. The poverty income allows exemption of people to do what for their taxes? It reduces, what does it do for them?
So if they qualify based on the guidelines, then their property taxes would be cut in half. Yeah. So if they had a tax, if they're typically paying $3,000 a year in taxes, it would change it to $1,500, and it's a 1-year adjustment. The person has to reapply every year just to ensure that circumstances haven't changed.
Okay, and my second question for you, I saw that for one-member family income, it was different than what the federal guidelines were.
Yes, so we're recommending to increase that by 15%. So in addition to changing the method or the formula that we use to make the adjustment on the amount of taxes, the other thing the state took away was allowing any kind of extenuating circumstances that, let's say the person didn't qualify or the income, they wanted to grant them an exemption anyway. They would be basically the judge and jury if they qualified under these circumstances. So that takes that out of the equation. It doesn't put anybody making a decision on someone's personal circumstances if they should get it. So what I found is we have some residents that fall just above the federal poverty guidelines of 12,000, I believe, what is it, $760.
Mhm.
So if somebody fell at 13,000, they wouldn't get it. I think we can all agree that's still a hardship.
Right.
So I found that by increasing it by 15%, it kind of took that in between one person household and 2-person household and kind of retrofitted it to allow some, that if they hit the 13 up to 14, that gives them some relief.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Holly.
Councilwoman Sawicki?
Just curious, how many of our households need this kind of assistance?
So the most I've had in 1 year is 10 people apply. Prior years, I've had maybe 5. So you have to own your home. So if you have a community with a lot of rentals, I think that's part of the reason why you may not see as many appeals coming through.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Thank you so much, Holly.
Thank you, Holly.
You're welcome.
Okay, can we get a roll call vote?
Councilwoman Pies,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki,
Yes.
Councilman Tucson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes,
Mayor Kindle,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Costantino,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay.
Item G3 is a proposal for rate increase for engineering services, Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick Incorporated. Madam Mayor and City Council, it has been the practice of our engineering firm, AEW, to increase rates following the Urban Wage Earners and Clerical Works Detroit Metropolitan Area Consumer Price Index. But due to our delicate financial conditions over the last several years, they discontinued this practice and have not raised our rates in 4 years. While we still face revenue challenges, our taxable value has stabilized and shown some increase. AEW has requested that we consider authorizing a rate increase of 1.1% for 2021 to match the increase of the index. Considering the long-term outstanding service provided to our community and their reasonable approach to rate increases, I request that we authorize the rate increase as proposed on the attached hourly charge rate sheet.
Madam Mayor?
Okay, Councilwoman Sawicki?
I'll offer a resolution to accept the 1.1% rate increase proposal dated February 11, 2021 from engineering firm Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick Incorporated, effective July 1st, 2021.
Support.
Supported by Councilwoman Pies. Discussion.
Madam Mayor?
I'm sorry, Councilman Tucson had his hand up first.
Well, let Councilwoman Sawicki speak first. She may.
Okay, go ahead on Councilwoman Sawicki.
All I want to do is to apologize about my earlier question because I realized got them confused with the way that some of our contracts are handled. It's my understanding that we pay them only for the services they provide. There's no retainer fee, if I'm correct in that.
That's true. That's true. They bill us. This is just for labor cost. And again, different jobs have different applied labor to them. And, they offer a lot of expertise, I want to say, with very specific projects that we have in giving us information on how to write grants, seeking out grants, seeking out loan opportunities, things like that. So this is not an unreasonable request. We didn't feel it was.
Thank you.
Councilman,
Now, are they all, now this is the same law firm that's also handling the Kelly Ave, Kelly Road and the Kelly Road.
They're an engineering firm. Okay,
Okay.
I believe you said law firm. Okay, they're an
Engineering
engineering
firm.
firm.
Okay, they're the ones that's handling the Kelly Road too, aren't they?
Yeah, they handle all the, just about all the work that goes through the city, you know, that needs to be engineered. They're handling Beaconsfield.
That's what I meant, Beaconsfield too.
Yeah, Beaconsfield. They're handling the basketball courts at Johnston Park, Salter Park, street repairs, crack, joint sealing. They do recommendations. They recommend products, grades of products that we use on our streets. They help us age our streets so that we know which ones to repair, and they assist in that whole process.
Now, can they give us any better idea when we're going to be able to break ground for Beaconsfield or Kelly? Because they've been working, we've been paying them and working on this for quite a few years.
Yeah, that's going to be as soon as this snow, that's going to happen this spring, you know, right around April. More than likely April, but Bill can probably give you a little bit better answer. We have to get out of the snow and ice control season, you know, first before we start milling out roads and things like that. But Bill, do you have a couple of comments you want to add?
Yeah, actually, as far as the Beaconsfield project goes, the bid letting for that will be in March. So they will go out for bids in March. The contract will be selected and recommended by April. The project will begin in May, and it will be completed within a couple of months. That will be the first phase from Kingsville to Woodland. And presently, they're also working on the second phase so we can have all our ducks in a row and the funding in place to take care of the second phase the following year, which will be from Woodland to Vernia Road.
And then after those two, maybe we can start thinking about some of our other roads.
I think you have the PACER rating for the streets.
okay. Is there any further discussion? Councilwoman Pies.
Yeah, I just want to say that over the years, I found AEW to be very open and accessible. I've met them also at MML, Michigan Municipal League meetings and events, and I've talked with the senior staff there. They're open to questions. I really appreciate our city working with them, and I have a lot of trust in them as well. And yeah, I thought I recalled that we had done a very minimal rate increase also within the past couple of years. But I recall that also was after several years of not having a rate increase from them. I believe the usual rate increase is somewhere between 3% and 5%, if I recall correctly. But
yeah, they have
but I
not had
support
one
them
in 4
nonetheless.
years.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Thank
they
you.
were instrumental in doing the 8 Mile Road. Yeah, they brought it to us.
You know what, if I could chime in just for a moment too and add to the value of AEW, they have a lot of depth in their engineering firm there too. And from underground work for storm sewers, sanitary sewers, traffic signals, the Hawk Signal project, the traffic signal upgrade on Vernia Road. And recently I worked with their electrical engineer for an assessment of our electrical needs at City Hall, because we're moving in the direction of trying to secure a grant to install what they call a whole house generator at City Hall that would power up our entire building instead of a somewhat piecemeal approach, which is what we have now. But to that end, I can call on them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, weekends, holidays, and they're just so responsive. And I meet with all their different folks in the field on these projects, so I'm familiar with the individuals, and they have quite a depth of knowledge in their firm there.
Roll call vote.
Okay. If there's no further discussions, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilwoman Sawicki,
Yes.
Councilman Tucson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Kindle,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Costantino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, Madam Mayor and Council, item G4, Milk River Operation and Maintenance. Attached are invoices from Wayne County for the operation and maintenance of the Milk River Drain for the period of October through December 2020, and also for the period January through March. This is in accordance with the budget amounts set by the Drainage District. It is recommended that these payments be approved.
Okay, I need a resolution. Councilwoman Sawicki?
Yes, the mayor, I'll for the resolution to approve payment to Wayne County in the amount of $654,267 for the operation and maintenance of the Milk River Drain for October through December 2020 and January through March 2021.
Support.
Support by Mrs. Pies, Councilwoman Pies. Any discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Councilwoman Constantino?
Yeah, I just have a question. I noticed that we're doing a double payment here. Is there an advantage to paying October through December in 2021 as opposed to 2020? Or what's going on with why we have two payments being paid here?
Okay, Wayne County has been operating, I want to say, on Zoom screen. We received both of these invoices at the same time. However, in processing the payment, we will be booking the expense for the October through December invoice into the Milk River Fund for year 2020. And we will be booking the expense for the January through March 2021 in this year's budget. So we're actually using two different budgets to pay for these invoices. And again, they're the ones that send out the bills, and they sent them both together. And this is how we're going to be handling it.
All right, that makes sense. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, please, Mrs. Franks.
Councilman Tucson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Kindle,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Costantino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
All right, so no further business from the city manager. Call the audience, and please raise your hand so that we can acknowledge you and give us your address or street that you live on.
Madam Mayor, at this time, I don't see anybody who's unmuting or raising their, Rhonda W., I believe, is raising her hand right now.
Okay.
This is Rhonda Williams. Address is 20250 Hollywood.
20250.
Okay, may we help you?
Well, I'm trying to basically log on. I'm trying to see. I've noticed that some of the ordinance has changed. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, I
Yes.
can hear you.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out, I'm new to Harper Woods. So like the ordinances regarding the snow and the trash. Upon calling DPW, I was informed that they no longer handle, I guess basically the complaints or the ticketing, but that the police department handles. So I'm trying to figure out, when did the ordinance change and what's really going on? Because I have some neighbors who've yet to touch one flake of snow since the snow started, even back in November. And I'm trying to figure out, because I'm just like, seem to be having so many problems. I'm starting to think that I've really bought property in the wrong city to be living in. It's been one thing after another.
I understand.
Police Chief, Chief Smith, would you like to address that question, please?
Yeah, I've never, ma'am, have you ever contacted the police department about this? Because your address does not ring a bell as far as the snow ordinance goes.
No, because here's my concern from reading everything that I've read. We only have 4 police officers per shift in the city of Harper Woods. I think that this is a minor thing, and I don't want to contact the police for something that I think is minor. So I'm concerned for the city as a whole. Why are we now using the police department when we have such a small resource with them for something like this? So I'm trying to get an understanding, like, why and when did this change, and is this the foreseeable future that we have to contact our police department, who's already strained, for something like this?
I'll tell you what, let me give you my email address. We can talk about this on the side.
I mean, I hear what you're saying.
But the police department, I mean, ordinance enforcement is a part of our job as well. So
Right.
it does fall back on the police department.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it answers my question. I'm not satisfied with it because I don't know.
I understand. Okay, I understand that.
It's frustrating. And I think that there should be more resources or something more that we as a city can come up with.
I mean, the short of it is, man, every department's been cut over the last 10, 15 years. So DPW is out there doing leaves, doing, the plowing of the snow. We're all sharing in these duties. So the complaints come in, DPW bounces it off the police department. We go back and forth on it. So if it's something like this where they haven't touched it since November, I mean, obviously the police department probably should have been called so we could look into this.
I mean, I get that, but as a citizen and as a taxpayer, because it's been going on for 1 year, 10 years, 15 years, doesn't mean that we can't have a discussion to find something better. That's why I'm bringing it and bringing this up as a discussion.
All right, understood.
Well, thank you very much. And welcome to the city.
Yep, thank you.
Is there anyone else? Seeing none, we will move on to call the council.
Madam Mayor.
Councilman Toussaint.
Mayor.
Mine is the first. It's kind of interesting, Rhonda's comment there. I'm here to kind of congratulate the police department on how they handled Danbury Lane during this emergency strike, emergency problem. We must have had 5 or 6 between abandoned cars and commercial vehicles parked up there. It was just a mess. And honestly, the snow was kind of a blessing because it came down when you put that emergency snow thing and the police came by. Boy, it got a bunch of folks of attention, and our street is cleaned up very well. So I want to thank them very much for the cooperation that the police department has done on Danbury Lane. Second of all, I think Councilwoman Constantino and Ernestine Lyons will be commenting on our new workshop that we'll be coming up with soon. So I'm kind of excited about that. So I'm sure they'll have more to comment on that. But that's all. Thank you.
Go ahead and comment on it.
Excuse me. Councilwoman Sawicki, you need to unmute.
Thank you. All I want to do is pass along my thank you to the DPW for the awesome job they've done. I've noticed a lot of our residents on one of the Facebook pages also had wonderful things to say about the DPW and how quickly they were on the street clearing a path in this good snowfall that we had. I know we're anticipating some additional later this week, and I just wanted to remind everyone to make sure you out there and clear your sidewalks and take care of yourself. Be careful when you're out there moving snow. Rest and drink plenty of fluids and don't overexert yourself. You have got 36 hours to move the snow out, and just keep in mind that we do need to get that snow off the sidewalks to make travel safe for our residents. Thank you.
Councilwoman Pies.
Hi, thank you. Just to start off with, I'll be needing to leave the meeting as soon as I'm finished speaking. I have another meeting that I was unable to reschedule. First, I wanted to let everyone know that I've been selected as a voting delegate for SEMCOG for the Southeast Michigan Council of Governments. Next, I wanted to mention that there is a canine fundraiser for our Canine Kaiser that will be happening sometime in May. So I'll be letting you know more information as we get all the arrangements finished. Also, there's been some talk for a while about censoring Councilwoman Costantino, and it was brought to my attention because I'd forgotten that the city does have an ordinance, an ethics ordinance for this from the 1990s. According to that ethics ordinance, Councilwoman Costantino did not violate that ordinance. So it seems to me that it would be appropriate for our ordinance committee to take a look at that ordinance and to work on updating it and fleshing it out a bit. And at the same time, what I would like to do is to write a base resolution, a base ethics resolution, and then bring it to council for council to work on and possibly pass during a meeting, similar to what we did with the resolution for inclusiveness that we did in the for transformative justice. So I just want to throw that out there. Perhaps somebody could follow up with me, or with, I'm sorry, with our mayor and acting city manager Szymanski about that. Also, regarding our meetings on YouTube, one of the questions I had regarding the transcripts that we're doing, closed captioning. I'm wondering if those will also be available on the YouTube channel to see as well, because while I think it's great for meetings here, I'd like to make sure that we're as ADA compliant or sensitive as we should be about that. I don't know if Rob can answer that question for me.
Your Honor, may I answer that?
Yes, please do.
Yes, Ms. Pies, the way that the system works is that the closed captioning is embedded in the video, but you do have to click on the closed captioning button on YouTube to activate it. So we do have it embedded as part of the video so people can see it just as we are seeing it live here.
Okay, so they'll still be able to access it on the YouTube then?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct. Okay, thank you so much. Also, I wanted to add that I'm really thankful that it is finally on YouTube. I've been hearing from some residents who, while they've had problems with our 5 p.m. Council meeting time, that they're glad to be able to review it on there. I also just want to add that our residents have been asking for this for broadcast meetings, or if not live broadcasts, then to be played back at a later time. They've been asking this since way before I was on council, with letters, talking to other council members, as you'll see Councilwoman Sawicki shaking her head there. I also talked with our city manager, our then city manager, Randy Skatarczyk, about this. We were unable to do that. I talked with our current city manager, Mr. Raker, the day after he was sworn in about getting this on YouTube or Facebook or one of those live streaming, or so people could come back and take a look at this. And I also talked with our acting city manager about this, Mr. Szymanski, and mentioned a few things over the past year or so with Rob Tronics, that does our audio visual for us. So I'm really happy that it's finally up. I hope we hear back more about this. I'm glad we're making the transcripts accessible, and I would like to thank, well, I think it's unfortunate that this had to come about because of COVID. It would have been nice to have had it happen before then, but this prompted it. So I'm really glad for that. And I would like to thank, again, our mayor and Mr. Szymanski also for making this happen after years of asking and hearing from residents about this. So thank you. And again, I need to leave the meeting, and thanks again. Good night.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to have a discussion?
We have Mrs. Williams and Mrs. Constantina with their hands raised electronically.
Councilwoman Williams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just said a few things. One, I want to really thank the DPW for their job on clearing out the snow. They've done a phenomenal job of clearing the snow every time it has snowed so far. We haven't had that much snow until recently, but they've been right out there. My husband usually goes out early in the morning and he starts snow blowing, and our streets are just about clean by the time he gets out there. So, you know, he snow blows the sidewalk and everything, but you know, the street is clear. So I really appreciate our DPW department. And I do want to thank them for their phenomenal job. I also wanted to mention about when residents have issues within the city, there's a couple of things that residents can do. You can always contact our city offices, and they're really good at responding, or the city manager, or even the city council. And we're really good at getting back with you when citizens have complaints or issues or something that you think is unresolved. We also have a neighbor conflict resolution that was started by the judicial system last year. So that if there's conflicts between neighbors or something that you think, you know, hasn't been resolved, that you need, you know, that there's something with your neighbor, we do have that also. And I also wanted to just point out that being a small community like we are, our police is much more accessible and responsive to our community. They would often come out on smaller things than what you see in a large community. I've seen the police come out with dogs just roaming the street, and someone have called on the dogs and they've come out. I know I had my car broken into. My husband had his truck broken into, and the police came out, and we wasn't expecting that because we were used to just making a phone call and no one ever shows up. So our police department is much more responsive when there's a complaint by a citizen, and they do handle a lot of the smaller issues that you won't see in a larger community. I think that's because we are such a small community. So please always feel, you know, that as a resident that you're able to reach out to, you know, either the city offices, the city manager, the council, police department, because, you know, all of us work to try to, you know, get back to the community, and we're always all accessible, and we all work on trying to find solutions for you. That's it.
Councilwoman Constantino.
Yes, I have three things. The first one is to thank our DPW, our police department, all of our employees, including our administrative staff and everybody. Having, you know, lived previously in Detroit and some other cities, multiple other cities, We really have an awesome staff. We really do. You know, I've lived everywhere from South Carolina and countries, thing like that, and we really have it good here. Our employees really care, and they really do their best job, and I really appreciate that. That's first. Secondly, for the lady lives on Hollywood. I don't know if she's still on or not. I feel your pain.
But
It gets frustrating. I just want to let her know there is a non-emergency number you can call for police if you don't want to bother the 911 system, 343-2530. And you can call that number if you have a situation that's not an emergency. However, I want to bring up, we used to have a code enforcement person. And I wonder, Mr. Szymanski, Madam Mayor, if that's possible that we can look at that again. That, you know, we used to have someone who went around and just did code enforcement. I think they were part-time, but they still, that's what they did, about 28 hours a week. So think about that and see if we can fit that into the budget. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was to reserve on your calendars March 23rd. It's a Tuesday evening. And it's going to be a public safety virtual workshop about cyber safety and cybersecurity. And there'll be something for everybody on this workshop. We'll be working in conjunction with the Public Safety Department and technology, and all different kinds of things will be discussed. Cyberbullying, how to tell if, you know, someone you care about is being bullied, cyberbullied, what you can do to prevent yourself from being swindled virtually, from phishing attacks, things like that. So there's going to be so much covered, and that will be from 7 to 8:30 p.m. The link will be on the public safety site prior to that meeting. Again, that's March 23rd. So I recommend that everybody saves that date. Thank
Can
you.
I comment on that too?
is there anyone else that hasn't spoken before?
Madam
Councilman
Mayor.
Tucson. Okay, Councilwoman Lyons.
Two things actually. I know that there's a Miss Nancy Courtney who I know we missed the time to, you know, call to council to the audience, but I'm wondering if there could be a one-time exception, or has she missed that?
I saw her, and I would have going to acknowledge when I got through with call the council. So if you have something else that you want to call on for the council, please do. If not, we will move on.
Okay, I do actually, Madam Mayor, thank you. I just wanted to say that, yes, to echo Councilwoman Constantino's call to invite everyone to the cyber safety workshop. Flyers have already been sent out via the social media and different ways for you to learn more about different events. And I also wanted to mention that, one, there will be a virtual return to learning workshop that I'm going to be hosting next month, and talking with parents who have concerns about, you know, when there's going to be a return to learning and in person. And there's also going to be next month a workshop on vaccine distribution, and having experts come in from the county level to discuss in a town hall format virtually just what people should know about the phases coming up from a coronavirus vaccine standpoint. And I do have two other questions, and perhaps our acting city manager can answer those. One is, when is the next ordinance committee meeting? Because I do know that there hasn't been one in quite some time. And I know that there was a public safety commission that had been discussed and formulating something of that nature. last year, and I wanted to follow up and be sure that we can actually proceed with setting up something like a public safety commission. And I can let that be addressed, or I can move on to the second question.
Okay, usually what comes up is when there's enough information, I believe the city clerk will schedule a meeting, but Leslie, would you want to make a comment on that, please?
Usually scheduled, but.
Yeah.
Sure.
Meetings, unfortunately, Mr. Szymanski, are scheduled by you.
Are they? Okay, okay.
So you schedule.
So we will schedule something, okay?
Okay. And for the second question, as far as code enforcement, it was my understanding that Safe Built also had a role to play in some of the code enforcement. So with regard to some of that those snow issues that maybe are pulling police, where does Safe Built play a role in giving citations and or, holding?
Okay, yes, I can answer that. This was an effort, I believe, about a year ago. If we send Safe Built out, Safe Built charges. And if they give out a code enforcement, if they give a ticket, whether that ticket eventually is paid off through court proceedings, what happens is we still get a bill for that. And I want to say that it was a decision, by the city to use in-house before we would actually use Safe Built in that capacity, and that's why our police department was chosen to enforce those tickets.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Acting City Manager. And I'm sorry if I cut off Mr. Toussaint earlier. I believe he was.
That's okay. We'll go back to Councilman Toussaint. Did you have something else you wanted to add? You're muted. You're muted.
Very briefly, I was just kind of excited about the workshop that we're going to be having. We went back and forth to kind of get the flyer together and the press release together. And we also have a panel discussion, and we're going to have experts on cyber security also. So definitely keep that date in mind. I'm looking forward to it myself.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ms. Corrigan, Nancy?
Yes, I apologize. I was using the wrong password and meeting ID number. I've been trying for an hour to get in.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to have you.
Thank you. I'm Nancy Courtney, and I represent the City of Harper Woods on the Board of Directors for the Detroit Area Agency on Aging 1A. And I just have a couple of updates for you. First of all, to remind you that the agency is responsible and serves Harper Woods, the 5 Grosse Pointes, most of Wayne County, Highland Park, and Hamtramck. And most of you know the organization through the Meals on Wheels program, where we deliver about 3,000 meals, hot, frozen, or liquid daily. And this has been ongoing through the COVID epidemic. However, congregate meals at the Helm were canceled from direction from the state, but instead seniors can call the Helm the morning that they want a meal, order a complete meal for a takeout, which they can pick up, and that's prepared by the chef at the Helm. They can call 313-882-9600. And DAAA has partnered with Wayne State University to produce some distance learning videos. They include things like hypertension and diabetes, fall prevention, how to use Facebook, internet security, and how to use Zoom. They can be reached by going on the website for DAAA, www.detroitseniorsolution.org, and then type in distance learning on the search bar, and you'll see the list of videos. And to remind you, there are also classes offered at the Helm, and they are doing them live, not virtually. They include a matter of balance, personal action toward health, creating confident caregivers, And once again, to register or get information about those classes, you can call the Helm at 313-882-9600. Both DAAA and the Helm have websites. They also are on Facebook. You can also find information about the Detroit Area on Aging in the Insider for Harper Woods publication. If ever anyone needs information or assistance for yourself, a loved one, an aging parent, or a friend, the main number for DAAA is 313-446-444. And the Helm, once again, is 313-882-9600. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nancy. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Okay. I just have a few things, and I want to once again thank everybody and thank DPW for the terrific job. I mean, I got out of my driveway, it was clear sailing. And in fact, you know, I hated to go up into Detroit through some of the streets to get to Moross because it was a mess. So I'm very proud and thankful for our DPW and how well they take care of us, Bill. So thank you once again. I also want to bring to your attention that I was asked to give a supporting letter to the Extension and the Harper Woods School District. And they're going to begin a community health and mental health in the Harper Woods School District. They have a health center in the Harper Woods School, high school. So they will be operating a school-based health and mental health center across the, they have mental health and health centers all across the state of Michigan, but we will be having an opportunity to have one in our own backyard here in Harper Woods, where they will be addressing health issues and everything else that children are having, because as we know, this pandemic has brought on many challenges, not only health-wise, but I think more so mental-wise, because even when you're driving, people just drive like they freaking crazy. It's just no rhyme or reason. So I think everyone could use a little mental assistance, and I'm glad it's going to be available for children, because they may not have the wherewithal to understand what we're all going through. We've never faced this before, so none of us have any real answers to what we're going through right now. So I'm so thankful and glad to be able to partner with the Harper Woods School District and Extension for this. Also, another note from the Harper Woods School District is that on Friday, the 19th, they will be having their soul food dinner and from the CCI building, and it's for $10, and you'll get a very well-rounded meal. Well, I think it was New Year's. I forgot when it was.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. I think it was Thanksgiving, and oh my God, they had a wonderful meal, and I was able to give it to all the police and fire department. So this time we're gonna do it for our DPW, Parks and Recs, and our city administration. And I just look forward, because the dinner sounds delicious. Macaroni and cheese, you got me at macaroni and cheese anyway. But however, if there's no other business, I thank everybody for the service, and keep warm, be safe, and get your vaccination as soon as you possibly can, and have a great day. Can I ask for an adjournment? Councilwoman Sawicki?
For the motion to adjourn.
Support. Councilwoman, sorry, Mr. Toussaint had his hand up first before you, Councilwoman Constantino. But he's mute, so we might as well go with you, Councilwoman Constantino. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed? You can stay by yourself here.
Not today.
Okay. All right,
We're all
everyone have a
jealous
safe
of you,
evening
Cheryl.
and be safe. And Cheryl, have a safe trip, and I hope your mom is well.